Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Book of Hungry Names, also known as The Adventures of Sierra, Gaia's Deadliest Weasel. I'm Huddy. Hi. I've been streaming Book of Hungry Names for many, many weeks now, trying to get through the game, and this is the last 2 weeks I'm going, not the last 2 weeks, last 2 days I'm going to be doing it. And then we're going to take a pause on it because Werewolf the Apocalypse Purgatory is coming out next week. I already have it ready to go. I can't wait to start playing it next week. And then once that's done, depending on if anything else comes out between then and now, we're going to come back to this. But yeah, last time, and hello everybody, last time what we were doing is, we did a lot of stuff, but most pertinently, we are going to go check out Daphne Clear, the Glasswalker, and GRC Media. So we headed down to the Connecticut River with Stormcat, and apparently we're going to run across Eater of Names. Because we're down at the river and we see how dirty and terrible the river looks, and some random person starts speaking to us, and I moved to the next screen and then ended the game, and I saw that the person speaking to us is Eater of Names, the Black Spiral Dancer, so that can only go well for all of us. The real question is, will we still be playing this by the time BL2 comes out? Boy, I hope not, Jerry. Boy, I hope not. This is gonna be the longest choice of games game I have ever played. Werewolf the Apocalypse Purgatory is a sequel to Heart of the Forest, and I finished that in 2 streams, so I just assume it's not going to be so long as this. It couldn't possibly be. So much reading, but I'm ready, I'm excited to jump back into it. So let's talk to the Black Spiral Dancer, who is horrifying. Eater of Names crosses in front of you to look down into the water, and the wind whips his coat back over broad shoulders, plasters his flannel slacks to his muscular legs. Excuse me. Slime twitches around his shiny brown dress shoes as if reaching for him. Gross. We tell ourselves that we have reasons for what we believe, Eater of Names says, not looking your way. But when we're pushed, it always comes back to beauty. We believe in what is beautiful. That's the only true philosophy. This is beautiful to you? Styrofoam choking the river, the stink of carrion? This is just waste. Sometimes I worry that we're all crazy, Eater of Names says, turning to regard you. His face is tanned, lined, healthy, handsome, not what you expected from a Black Spiral Dancer. His hair is close cropped and the color of dirty snow. What is the color of dirty snow? Like salt and pepper colored? Charcoal colored? Dying galaxies twist in his eyes. All werewolves, I mean. Heightened senses, exquisite sensitivity to moods and sensations. It's kind of a debilitation almost. At least I do my job well, I have that. Can you say the same? Before you can answer, look at them up there. He flings out a hand towards the vehicles rumbling over the bridge, perfect silver hairs on his wrist next to his fancy watch. They don't see anything. They only feel what they want to feel, and they're happy. Why can't we be happy, Miss September? Ooh. The humans are mostly blind, and devils like you keep them all the way blind as they kill the earth. Every time we have this conversation, what? The Black Spiral Dancer says, you find a way to get in a jab on the humans, as if you're not human sometimes when we talk. Yeah, what the hell are you talking about? The Black Spiral Dancer takes your shoulder so quickly that you can't escape, and the sensation is so horrible that all you can do is gasp as he drags you towards the waterline. For a moment, you imagine he's going to drown you, and the thought of breathing in that filthy oil-smeared water fills you with wild terror, like a human consumed with delirium. Look, Eater of Names shouts, look. See? Don't you see the dead? And then, as stripes ripple across the filthy water, you see the corpses floating in the bloody water. Not like jellyfish now, or like squids tangled in fishing nets. Human corpses. Your corpse. Dozens of them. Your body waterlogged, swollen, and massively multiplied, bobbing and bumping on either shore of the Connecticut River. Variations in the faces, in the scars gained from countless battles. One of them is clearly male, naked, torso covered in bite marks. You can't tell if one looks exactly like you or if you're just seeing your reflection in the rippling water. I don't have time for one of these long struggles, Eater of Names says. Once, we chased each other across the wasteland for years down this dirty riverbed. Nope, down this dry riverbed, down to what used to be the sea. But this time, Miss September, this time the waves suddenly stop, and I'm in time this time, because this time it's real. Get away from her. You can't do anything, the Black Spiral Dancer roars, twisting your arm, dragging you down so you bang your knees on the wet rocks. Slimy corpses brush your legs, flesh like soft cheese. You killed my predecessor, but you can't kill me. Not with what I know. I've learned too much. I'm already building what I need to kill the Cairn, to kill you. I know where to find all the equipment I need to build. You stole your predecessor's little bubble helmet and his flames. This is Stormcat talking, I could tell. The Broadbrook Garu laughed as he died. They'll laugh at you too, Eater of Names. As your plan to destroy the Cairn falls apart, it's been years, fool. You should have finished your work by now and killed me. But you can't, can you? You should have kept your feet on the ground. The waves have stopped lapping at the shore, Sierra. Christ. Stormcats. Vampires drool, werewolves rule. Absolutely. Oh, thank you for the sub. Sorry, Alinaya? Was it that right? I did not get a ping for some reason. The WTF arc, yeah. I actually don't hate the WTF arc. I'm gonna be controversial and say I like vampires and werewolves and changelings and wraiths and and mages. I love them all. And will workers. Tell me what you are, I shout, at the Stormcat, the Answering Tiger, the Fallen Werewolf, any of them. Yes, please. Get me out of the WTF arc. I mean, it's fun, but eventually it gets too much. Eater of Names laughs. You can feel his hot, fetid breath, can almost feel the incisors on your neck as he holds you down. I already told you, Miss September, he shouts. How many times do I have to say it? We're not anything. He flings you away laughing. You twist so you don't fall into the filthy, knee-deep water, though the smell of it makes you snarl. The Black Spiral Dancer snarls back, and when you look at him again, there's nothing human-like in his twisting eyes. Only the pale green radiance of the world's ending. But despite his ferocity, Eater of Names is not as strong as he imagines, and the corrosive flame of his balefire fails to ignite into, "Stop it!" The Black Spiral Dancer snaps. Into a weapon strong enough to threaten. You don't have the power to do that, Eater of Names shouts. You don't have the right. I still have my name, Wormspawn. You see only stone and glass and the green fire at the end of everything. You've forgotten what moves the world. We are made of names. The fallen werewolf is not as strong as he imagines, and the corrosive flame of his balefire fails to ignite into a weapon strong enough to threaten a true warrior of Gaia. Biting his lips until they bleed, spitting poison and black fog, he wreathes himself in the dark radiance of the worm and disappears into the river, leaving a rippling stain across the filthy water that ignites the oil. The Connecticut River burns with a low, sickening haze, and the dead sea life and filthy styrofoam burn away, fouling the air with thick black smoke. Do you see, Sierra? Even in victory, I am constrained by necessity. The smoke rises up to the bridge. Help me. The Stormcat crawls across the jagged rocks, thin and translucent, little more than a ghost. Yeah, I'll pick her up. How can I help her? She got rid of the frickin' Black Spiral Dancer, so I'll help her. I mean, she's sussy all the time, but I kind of like her. Your hands slide through the transparent cat. You consider gifts or rites that might help. Oh yeah, well, duh. Duh. She's a spirit, can't pick her up. No, stop worrying about me and think about yourself. Here's what I want you to do. First, get away from this beach. I can't stop the smoke yet, and it will draw the curious. Second, tell someone else about the peculiar events that have plagued you since coming to the valley. The tape at Gorski Manor that let you speak to someone claiming to be Catherine. The corpse in Mountain Street Scientific that wore your face for a moment. The others will know how this connects to Miss Clear and GRC Media. Work carefully and decide how to approach Miss Clear. I don't care if she lives or dies, but you might. Work carefully and be careful that people are who they say they are. Remember your name and remember what you believe. It's easy to believe that this world is always like this. Maybe it was like this when it was all forest, but our words shaped the world. Remember. Exhausted by her spiritual struggle, the Stormcat fades into the Umbra. Your police boots are waterlogged and filthy. Yeah. Changelings are cool, also wraiths. For shame, pick a side for tribal arguments. Vampires have their place. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, well, In my opinion, all the creatures of the world of darkness have their place in different places, in different scenarios. Like, don't know. Reading this has really gotten me enjoying Werewolf the Apocalypse, so much so that I'm running my own chronicle now. Okay. I talk with Elton. I visit Melody. Nin is playing tonight. Pod should be at the Beninsky estate. Let's talk with Elton, just because Elton is the person who... I mean, I know Stormcat says, like, don't worry about Stormcat or whatever, but Elton is the person who knows Stormcat the best, or, like, it always seems to... doesn't have an antagonistic relationship with Stormcat. Melody certainly does. She doesn't seem to like Stormcat, so let's talk with Elton. Podge is not entirely confident in the digital security Cockroach provides, so after some consideration, you just bike to Elton's house one day after work in the expectation that he'll be home and that you'll be able to set up a good time to meet later that week. But you spot Elton in the narrow, covered alley where you first met him, watching movers load a van with his furniture. Also, his wife was Catherine. Maybe we can mention that to him. The van's rear door closes with a gunshot-like bang in the covered alley, and the vehicle rolls away. Elton follows it with his eyes, then slides an envelope full of bills into his coat. That buys me a few months, the Thayerge says as a heavy spring rain starts. What brings you here, Sierra? The Stormcat fought Eater of Names. She's hurt but alive. Eater of Names, Elton says, forgetting the van full of antiques. Where was this? The Connecticut River, you say. I think I saw the answering tiger, but I can't make sense of it. You were right to come to me, Elton says. He walks as he talks, hopping over a spreading rivulet of water as the rain intensifies. The Thayerge opens the door for you. A short climb under the fading device takes you into an alarmingly tidy flat. Your first visit was a riot of confusing sense impressions, old paper and varnish and cigarette smoke impregnating the Blitz-era wallpaper. Now the wallpaper is gone, revealing walls the color of old ivory or bad teeth. Mid-century furniture, tasteful but unexceptional, has replaced the antiques, and strangest of all, you can see each book, each icon. Everything is discreet, no longer a blur of antiquity and occult promise. Here is Athena, proud African features on white stone. There is the brass medallion depicting Vahan, books sorted neatly. Catherine above the magnificent fireplace. The air feels unnaturally bright and thin now that gray blackout curtains, open wide, have replaced the tattered velvet. Touches of the mundane stick out more clearly now. Weight sets next to the bed. The smell of store-bought shampoo from the bathroom. Cheap Formica countertops, chipped and gouged and burned. Tell me what you saw, Elton says as he provides you with coffee and a slice of banana bread. I love how the werewolves are always eating because they're always starving. He sits on the piano bench in front of the old upright, which survived the cull. A boombox with a tape deck plays Wintermute. You've heard of Catherine's legendary mixtape, 13 songs, all named Wintermute, all about cyberpunk nerd stuff recorded from 1986 to 2015. It's turned down low so you can only hear a kick drum and a sibilant tenor. Oh, okay. All right. All right, let's do it like a journalistic article. Let's start with the latest thing and work backwards from there. I start with Eater of Names. I tried to get him to say something that made sense, but I couldn't. Black Spiral Dancers are rarely straightforward, Elton says. The worst thing about Eater of Names is that despite being obviously insane, he's capable of planning and even what politicians call message discipline. The Stormcat was probably right to attack him before he could work on your mind. Is that what happened? I think, but you're not sure how to describe it. The fight wasn't exactly on your plane, right? Elton says. A spiritual conflict between the Stormcat and the Answering Tiger. I wish I could get a straight answer out of the Stormcat about what the Answering Tiger is. But from what you've experienced, maybe, there are no straight answers. Unless you think that you can get a straight answer out of David Baninsky, the one you didn't kill after he became a Fomor. Could you actually explain what you saw there? You're not sure where to begin, but you describe the interactive tape where you appeared to see Catherine, Eater of Names in his Homid form, and David Baninsky as a normal man, not a monster. You also describe the hand that reached for you and try not to shudder. Ooh. Elton glances at the painting of his dead wife as if expecting her to talk, and then says, "And she said the world was shrinking?" You nod, then spread your hands as if to say, "But it's obviously not." Yes, it's a strange deception or misunderstanding, Elton says. Harmony used to talk about pocket dimensions, invisible laboratories, stranger things. Stranger things. They needed energy to sustain them or they'd shrink and vanish, but I can't tell if that's what you experienced. And this wasn't your only discontinuity, was it? You go on to describe the sight of your own corpse just before the mouthful Mori attacked. And Melody called you Megan, not Sierra? Elton asks as you described what happened. The first time she did, you say, but then when I woke up again she called me Sierra, but it was definitely me on the slab at first. Melody and I returned to the Mountain Street site to conduct some scrying, Elton says, but it's gone, completely wiped away. But let's go back to Eater of Names. This was at the river, below the bridge, right? You describe everything you can about your meeting at the river, from the Stormcat's first appearance to your probing the Black Spiral Dancer to how the rotting biomass in the water appeared to become your corpse, massively multiplied. And he said you'd talked to him before? Elton asks. That we'd had the conversation before, you say. You've been picking at the Black Spiral Dancer's phrasing there like it's a loose tooth. What does he want? I mean, everyone says the Black Spiral Dancers want to destroy the world. Are we sure about that? You sure about that? We can pass definitions like academics all night, Elton says. Quite a few philodoxes have. What is death? What is Gaia? Does the worm represent the principle of destruction from which a new cycle arises? Or is it entropy, oblivion, the end of everything? When a Black Spiral Dancer comes at you with shit-smeared claws and eyes burned away by balefire, even someone like me stops quibbling. You fought them before, you ask. Before Eater of Names in the Battle of Graves Farm, yes, Elton says. But they were gibbering monsters, mentally and spiritually lower than Dratosi. Dratosi are like trash spirits. And I mean that literally, not like figuratively. Down by the river with my van, exactly. We killed them and melted the bodies with acid because their meat polluted even fire. Eater of Names was different. As you noticed, he likes to talk, and he commands, or belongs to, the answering taiga. It was strange to speak with him. You spoke with him too, you ask? And felt as you feel, Elton says, visceral disgust and a strange curiosity. Catherine and I might have listened more, except he was killing our friends at the time. What's interesting is that he told Catherine the same thing he told you, but having had this conversation before. He didn't get to explain everything, though, because we killed him. He looks so surprised. Elton permits himself a little smirk, but then his expression darkens as he remembers. And then I saw the drone. What? You ask? Elton is lost in memories, his expression distant. That night is a blur, Elton says. Sorrow or the answering tiger, I'm not sure why. But I remember that man we destroyed in Everlight HQ last year, and I remember seeing him before, at the old bottling plant. Bottling plant? You ask? Harmony and Catherine got it shut down a few years back, Elton says. He's straining to remember. But what if there's something still there? We have to check it out. Yes. Do I take Melody? Do I take Nin? I would take Nin, but let's go with Podge. Podge and I are going to go check it out. If there's still a computer we can plug into, he has the best chance of learning something. Or I could go with Elton. Nah, let's go with Podge. Let's go with Podge. He's our boyfriend. I'm not sure Catherine and Harmony would have left anything that can still be plugged in, Elton says, but it's worth a shot. I'll try to run down more information about the plant. He hands you a leather bag full of exploration gear. You open it up just to make sure it isn't full of gas lamps and 19th century morphine bottles, but it's brand new stuff. Flashlights, gloves, climbing ropes, a dedicated GPS unit, and a cat. You remove Tisby and put her on an armchair. The Theurge walks you downstairs, then you spend the next several days completely unable to find Podge since you're trying to avoid using phones or sending texts. This is especially frustrating since you live with him, but he's out for several nights in a row. Great. You finally spend an evening after work asking around and track him down on Rosemary Street. He's delivering some questionably sourced supplies to the free clinic there. We've got work, you say. You fill him in as you help him drop off the supplies, and he's eager to go. The two of you hop into the truck and roll towards the plant. Can't keep that stallion down. You can't. Oh, man. He's like a rolling stone. The bottling plant is an abandoned industrial sprawl on the west bank of the Connecticut River, a short walk north from where you and Podge used to live and not far from where you encountered Eater of Names. Since it's too large and sprawling for a fence, the municipality keeps people out with cameras, probably fake, most already smashed, and the occasional police patrol. You have an hour until sunset, and while darkness doesn't scare you, the thought of cops spotting your flashlights does. You'll have to move quickly. Podge circles the building until he finds a vulnerable door, then gestures for you and Raccoon. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot I got a gift from Raccoon last time. Go me. You tap your lockpick to the knob like it's a magic wand, and the door unlocks. As you conduct your initial scouting of the abandoned facility, your phone vibrates. Lucinda just sent you a GRC media article. New York breaks ground on state-of-the-art security center. A brief skim of the article reveals that another green prison is under construction, this one just south of your hometown in New York. Even though you've slowed construction in the forest here, the work never stops. Trash Panda has the best gift. I actually don't remember the gift. Can I see it here? Oh, I'm at 2 rage. Look at me. Hamid, the woman. Can I see my gifts? Your human allies are struggling and have no time to train you. I mean, what a mood. Oh, look how optimistic I am. There we go, Raccoon. Open locks and seals. Oh, look, I have 4 gifts. Look at me. Superior perception, open locks and seals, holds, and then the 2 like former dead Garu spirits, however you put it. Holds the Dawn gave me Song of Valor and Combat Mastery from Greynell. From the dead Garu. That's fun. Okay. Sometimes it feels hopeless, but I have a job to do. Yep. Podge skims the article, then says, I think I've had enough. We need to get rid of Daphne Clea. You expect him to say more, but he seems to remember that you're here to do a particular job. He sets off, flashlight illuminating heaps of junk, and you follow. You roam the interior for 2 hours, meeting only rats. Abandoned in haste after whatever Catherine and Harmony did to it, the bottling plant is mostly warehouse, broken wooden pallets, industrial lighting, cinder block walls covered in swastikas and cocks. Delightful. 3 abandoned forklifts, long stripped of anything valuable. The actual bottling facility is covered in cobwebs that indicate previous occupation by the moth Fomori, but the profusion of normal cobwebs tells you that they left years ago. You're just starting to think this is a bust when you and Podge stop in front of a familiar-looking leather couch in a trashed hallway next to a freight elevator. Where have we seen that? You say. Oh, I remember that, he says. It's the same brand of Supper Club furniture that they had at the drone room at Everlight. That's something. You pull open the door on the freight elevator. The car isn't there, but Podge shines his flashlight down. Something down there, he says. He pulls on gloves and climbs down the central cable. You follow. You smell it right away. The hot dust aroma of active computers and the rancid stink of old blood. This looks and smells like either a research facility or an abattoir. Dried blood stains the cement floor, thick wires cover the ground, rolling metal desks hold laptops and biomedical machinery. Most are powered down, but a central UPS and a mountain of servers hum with energy and throw dust into the air. The worst smell comes from a plexiglass coffin, like an incubator, but sized for full-grown humans. It's crusted with dried blood, which has flowed onto the ground. The stench of death is old. What is this? You ask Podge, sweeping your flashlight over the computers, the medical equipment, the rats chewing on wires. Well, the bonar should fit right in with the rats chewing on wires. Let's find out, Podge says, opening up the nearest computer. Podge knows his way around computers and quickly assembles a picture of what this place used to do. Okay, so the drone hid here to monitor the Fomori in the bottling plant, Podge says, his face blue in the light of a laptop. From what I'm reading, he tipped off the Garu to their presence. Then later, before he was captured and taken to Everlight, I guess, he was talking to Daphne and her ex-husband Linus about setting up what would become GRC Media. This is it, Podge says. Names, addresses, information. We can use this to get Daphne Clea to react. And then we've got her. He squeezes the tablet hard enough that rainbows ripple across the screen. Don't break it. You're not a red talon. You don't have to break it. Are we sure Broadbrook got all the Fomori? I'd love to clear out some monsters. I would actually love to do that because I don't know if you've noticed, but my track record in this is, I can't even say how many weeks I've been streaming this game. My track record in fighting goes the following. I attempt to fight, I botch my roll, and all of my pack mates get hurt fighting the monsters that I failed to kill or even harm. That has been almost every fight I've done in this game because I'm the worst. So I'd love to keep trying. I'd love to have a victory at some point, right? I have to have one victory in the game. In combat. I've had weird victories, like doing like weird like subterfuge stuff, like sneaking around or like distractions and stuff, but not being an actual werewolf. I've had no luck at all. You make sure you've downloaded everything onto your phones, then you and Podge conduct a systematic sweep of the facility. But there's nothing, not even squatters. Catherine and Harmony tore this place apart so badly that the worm hasn't returned since, even after the Battle of Graves Farm. Crawling through abandoned factories is grubby work, but you clean yourselves up in a sink that still has running water. When you step outside, you notice a storm crow waiting for you, one of Elton's spirit messengers. You and Podge tell it everything that happened, and it takes off to tell Elton, who will tell the other Garu. The information you took from the drone's lair under the bottling plant contains data on GRC Media's formation a few years back. Though incomplete and out of date, it's the closest thing to a break you've had, so after several days of schedule wrangling, you all meet at Melody's Barrow to discuss what you found and how to use it. With this new information, you can see several ways to get inside GRC Media without immediately drawing down every defense the place has. With just a few old accounts contained in this documentation, you could try infecting GRC Media with an old-fashioned computer virus, something so rudimentary that a Glasswalker's gifts might not pick it up. That's funny. Information here about the physical building might let you monitor it for security weaknesses that she never fixed, so that would take great attention and care. The documentation also contains veiled hints about the spirits of knowledge Miss Clear bound. They are old spirits, pre-computer. A Garu who could follow a spirit trail might be able to suborn them and learn a way in. There's also some information here about Miss Clear's municipal contacts during the building's construction. Podge and Melody recognize several mid-level fixers and gray market suppliers who are still in business if you wanted to approach them. Finally, you could try lying to Miss Clear's subordinates. This document includes quite a bit of information on the very first GRC Media employee you ever met, the secretary who is still employed there and whom you might try to approach and manipulate. But before that, there's the matter of what you're going to do with Daphne Clear. We gotta fucking kill her, Podge says. I'm sorry, I know it sucks, but she's poisoning the world. She's doing it to people's minds like the drone did it to the air and water. We're not killing more Garu, Elton snaps. You're not Garu if you're fighting Gaia, Elton. Podge says, Clea is in a locked fortress, pumping out propaganda for Hoover Development and Eater of Names. She's no better than them. Enough. Can we try to capture her? Nin says, like Everlight captured the drone? Then we can speak with her. Reason with her? You overrate reason, Nin, Melody tells the Wolfborn. We need to find out what motivates Daphne Clear in the instant we see her. If we can negotiate, fine. If we have to kill her, fine. But fighting to capture, that'll just get us killed. So we'll try and reason with Clea, Podge says. He's messing around on an old iPod, skipping from song to song. You saw what they've done to us, to our land. The forest, Rosemary Street, these barrows are next, If we don't fight back, Hoover Development will turn the swamp into condos for Nazis, and GRC Media will brag about how the heat comes from 20% renewables. The argument rages all through Melody's elaborate and imperfect four-course dinner. The other Garu are far from the paralysis that overtook them after the Battle of Graves Farm. Now it's the shock of Eater of Names' retaliation that prevents them from presenting a united front. GRC Media won't stop its campaign of propaganda, but the other Garu need a direction. Even a mistake is better than this endless bickering. Every time we get together for a dinner, we fight. We're like a family. Yeah, nothing can go wrong with any of those options. I'm sure Sierra would be good at all of them. You just gotta give me a chance. Okay. I'm not gonna say this. Daphne Clear must die, because I'm not that zealous. Sierra's not smart enough to be that zealous. Or, wait. Sierra's not confident enough to be that zealous. Is that better? Okay. We're gonna capture her. We're gonna negotiate. Okay. Do we get deprogram her? I'm not smart enough to deprogram someone. We have to negotiate. It's a risk, but Miss Clear knows about the answering tiger. Yeah, we need more information because nobody knows what that is. We just throw that name around like it means something, but we don't actually know what it means. So what? Podge says, stirring his venison bourguignon. We just break into GRC Media, maybe cut the heads off some murder dogs and then say, hey, Daphne, want to talk this thing out? Yes, Patrick, Elton says. We negotiate from a position of strength, show her that she can't fight 5 werewolves, then convince her that she doesn't have to die. We're not going to do this out of mercy. We're going to do this... We're doing this to turn an enemy into an ally. Imagine how much Miss Clea knows. And if it doesn't work, Podge says, we kill her, Elton says. This is a mistake, Podge says. He glances at Melody for support, but while the Philodox doesn't look entirely pleased, she's unwilling to argue for an immediate death sentence. Perhaps to save Podge's loss of face, Melody sips her Kier Pamplemousse that she's always drinking, then says, this is all pointless if we can't get inside or lure Daphne out. How are we going to do that? Such a good question. All right. This is where we have to make that decision that they mentioned earlier. We have a list of people who still work there. Could we trick them into letting us in? That seems like the easiest one to do, right? Because we're... Okay, let me go through my reasoning here. So, I don't really want to start messing around with corruption to exploit a building, because that seems like a gateway into nastier things. One. I don't want to get into a hacking war with a glasswalker. That seems stupid and fruitless. The knowledge spirits, again, sort of the same reason. These knowledge spirits, we don't know how long she's had them bound. We don't know how much she knows about them. So I don't know how successful we'd be in subverting them without her knowing. And then, again, testing the security. I don't think I really want to go toe-to-toe with a glasswalker when it comes to technology in any capacity. So I think that the one that seems the most likely to work, and I might just be overthinking it, is we have a list of people who still work there. Could we trick them into letting us in? I mean, worst comes to worst, we could just threaten them and be like, let us in. I mean, they might call the cops. I don't know. That's what I'm picking. I can't. I can't do this decision paralysis thing, because I'll just talk myself in and out of all of the options. Let's go with our 1 dot in charisma. That's right. Did I up a dot in charisma? I thought I might have. Did I? Nope. I have 2 dots in manipulation. That's something. Crystal Sham, Elton reads. I hate Wiccans, Melody says as everyone works to clear the table. Is the name of the secretary at GRC Media, Elton says. She's been there since the building opened. Carefully manicured social media profile, Instagram, some green wellness influencer stuff. Oh, what's this now? She's friends with Chloe Metzinger. Okay. Who, Melody says, do you remember when we ran down information about the Hoover Development construction site in East Hampton before you and Sierra flooded Mountain Street Scientific? Oh, right, the job placement offer, Melody says. You must have missed this whole thing. You have no idea who they're talking about. Well, I'm thinking Sierra and I can talk to Chloe. With Butterfly's help, a few gross... Yeah, we don't have Butterfly because we don't have Butterfly spirit help because we're not charismatic enough. A few gross misrepresentations should get us to Crystal Sham, and a few more will get us directly into the GRC Media building. What about the graph? Okay, no. Let's do that. Yep, let's do that one. That's the one. That's the one I want to do. All right, this is like before where I have the options to see like what the other options are, but I don't want to. Let's do it. Let's do it. He has butterfly gift. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's head outside and discuss things, Melody says, surveying the wreckage of dinner. Wow, what is this? You guys still have slaves to clean up? Podge asks, still messing around with his iPod. Alas, Melody says. What? Everyone grabs fistfuls of Rice Krispie bars. I mean, right, doesn't Melody come from like a really wealthy family or something? Is that what they're implying? Everyone grabs fistfuls of Rice Krispie bars and follows the Philodox through the white doors and up onto the grassy hill over her barrow. Though solar panels and light construction equipment cover part of the hill, old stone benches provide a place to sit on the southern exposure and look out at the swamp, which is now almost a river with the return of the spring thaw and the destruction of David Beninsky's dams. A stone lamp carved in the shape of a wolf's head probably once held lamp oil. Now it glows blue light with an incandescent bulb, enough to read by. What was Sierra saying we should do? Nin asks. She is so sticky with venison and strawberries that Elton is trying to clean her, and it's just making her mad. We'll handle this, Elton says, trying without success to hold Nin still. But I want the rest of you investigating in case this doesn't work. Why? Why wouldn't it work, Elton? It's me. A few days later, you go over the plan multiple times before you approach Chloe. The story is that you both work at the Massachusetts Green High Performance Computing Center. Oh God, I hate that. The Computing Center. And the colleges that help fund it are looking to improve its reputation after the disastrous failure of the Big Calc. The University of Massachusetts is interested in a long-term relationship with GRC Media to bolster its profile. The Trick will be arranging a meeting inside GRC Media without walking right into Daphne Clear and getting shot by her gun that turns people into flowers. I beg your pardon? Elton sends a friendly email to Chloe and you craft a slightly more professional sounding email. You send to Crystal Sham's Instagram/influencer email rather than through GRC Media, so Miss Clear is less likely to notice. You both get affirmative responses, and after a few days of emails, texts, and one phone conversation, always careful to avoid direct connections to Daphne Clear, you schedule a meeting at a local coffee shop. Crystal Sham obviously has no idea that you were the half-frozen drifter. That's right. That's right. Who stumbled into GRC Media the winter before last. We've cleaned up since then. She's friendly if professional and treats both of you like major investors instead of impoverished postgrads. Thanks to Elton's manufactured persona. The Thayerge's mother is an academic, and he's breezily comfortable with the lingo of public-private partnerships. That leaves you to handle the actual lying. Your bullshit is voluminous and intricate, and they're nodding along as Elton makes his pitch for a meeting at GRC Media itself. They're not quite willing to commit to that, but you ask them to agree to a second meeting. The next day, your false identity gets an email from Chloe asking you and Elton to meet her and Crystal at a job placement center in Holyoke. She doesn't say it outright, but it sounds like they want to present a fully realized agreement between the university and GRC Media to Miss Clear. You might be able to use this job placement center to exploit GRC Media, so you agree, and Elton borrows Podge's truck the next evening. The two of you reach the address around Sunset Park and cross the street. Oh no! You know something is wrong the moment you see the empty building. Womp womp. Whoopsies. Fucking whoops. Typical. Dark windows, dark street. An alley on one side and a parking garage on the other. You're about to point out that there are worse things than getting the runaround when you spot a cold blue light on the second floor of the parking garage. More lights shine from the storage facility behind you and the mouth of the alley. The things that move to surround you look like Miss Clear's Dobermans, but she's been working on them. The results are hideous. Their mouths and eyes are gone, replaced by metal grills and asymmetric plastic visors. Great. Already crawling with infection, the shifting wind carries the stink of dried blood and colostomy bags. Even as you cough and step back, you count 6 of the ruined, horrible animals, their fur shaved in patches, their plastic eyes shining blue-white as the sun sets. An ugly static hiss emanates from black plastic speakers bolted into their flanks. Jesus Christ. We should kill her just for this. Run. Run. Yeah. Man, I was sure that 1 dot would have been enough. I had 2 dots in manipulation. Wouldn't my lying be manipulation, not charisma? Run. That's my answer. Run. The closest dog leaps, but you roll, then jump from a neglected and overflowing dumpster up to the second level of the parking garage. The dogs who were coming down from that level skid wildly, trying to turn around, which gives you time to check on your companion. As you watch, Elton vanishes into a shadow. The Dobermans scratch at the brick wall where they last saw him, howling in pain and frustration. But you're not clear yet. When you hear metallic claws on concrete, you drop and roll. The dog jumps a moment later, slams into the side of a parked van, and gets stuck in the window. That gives you time to jump over another car and run for the 3rd floor with more dogs behind you. They'll always be faster than you in a straight line chase, so you hop up onto a higher level, then squeeze out the parking garage's exterior opening and edge along the outside. A final leap and roll takes you to the roof of the adjoining storage facility. They've lost you. Awesome. Not dying in a Doberman's jaws is a kind of victory, but you're still not any closer to infiltrating GRC Media. Christ. Dude just noped out of there, leaving you on your own. Well, I knew he was gonna. See, that's the thing, is I knew he was gonna, because in every fight that I mean, there's been a few times where Eldon has, like, been forced to fight, but most of the time, he just disappears. He's like a Nosferatu. He just disappears into his shadow, and then, it's just me there. Not dying in a Doberman's jaws is a kind of victory, but you're still not any closer to infiltrating GRC media. Worse, Daphne Clear obviously saw you coming from a mile away. Great. You hurry down dark and unfamiliar streets, watching your back and listening to the howl of police sirens. Once you're sure the cops won't find you, you head to a location you prepped on the list of one-time codes and send Elton a text. Nothing after a few minutes. Did he lose his phone? You wait for half an hour, then take out your phone again and consider calling. Could the Glasswalker have somehow intercepted or manipulated your transmission? There you are. You jump, but it's just Elton. I couldn't see you until the phone lit your face up, Thayer says. And that's it. Time to go home. Well, that was a waste of my time. Waste of everyone's time. You dream of your upper left incisor escaping, pushing up your cheekbone and splintering it so bloody fragments spill down your face to your jaw, burrowing through your brain, up through memories you want to forget, trying to help you, but it's stupid and blind. I should have just fought the Dobermans. I should have just done it. I don't know why I'm such a coward. Doesn't know what you need. Your lip peels back in a horrible sneer as you dig into your left eye and try to stop it before it reaches your corpus callosum. Digging through red and gray, you can't reach it, and your movements make you forget more and more. Gross. And that is our tale of woe, Elton says, from our initial promising meeting with Chloe and Crystal all the way to the ambush by the mutilated dogs at the false meeting site. You're all crowded around a red checkered table at the Cavaletti to go, gnawing on pizza crusts and sipping from chunky plastic tumblers after hearing the other werewolves' tales of defeat and misdirection. We're all so bad. We're so bad at this. Podge is so troubled he can barely remember to play footsie with you, and that guy loves playing footsie. Okay, interesting. Nin called you all here, and it sounds like everyone else met with the same misfortune as you at Elton, though no one else almost died. Great. The only one who hasn't spoken is Nin. Her hair has fallen over her face, but you're sitting next to her, so you can see her smile. What? You say. Cleaning supply delivery every week to GRC Media on Monday, Nin says. She nods as a truck parks in front of the pizza parlor. A driver hops out, opens up the back, carries cleaning supplies around to the Cavaletti to-go kitchen. Oh my god, Melody says. Now? Let's go, Nin says, hopping up and throwing 2 crumbled 20s on the check table. Do we have a plan? Elton asks once all 5 of you are crowded into the van, to not get noticed when he comes back. Nin unfolds a gray tarp and hands Elton part of it. Everyone hold a corner, Nin says. We're going to die here, Melody says, but she holds up part of the tarp. Amazing. Nin's the best. I should have just gone with Nin. Whatever Nin's plan is, let's all make a mental note. From now on, whatever Nin's plan is, just do that one. Nin's the best. I told you it would work, Nin says, hopping out of the back of the truck. The driver has left to make his delivery, so you hurry out of the GRC Media garage and into a hallway. Though it's evening, there are still people in the building, so you can't dawdle. Despite your precaution, you hear security systems coming online, shouts and a thump from up ahead. You and the others follow the sound to a security station that looks down on the garage. Podge stands over 2 unconscious security guards in his Glabro form. In less than a minute, Melody and Elton have wrapped them in duct tape and tossed them into a custodial closet. This one, fortunately, doesn't lead down into a drone storage facility, unlike the closet at Everlight HQ. Miss Clea employs some heavy security now, Podge says as he reads an open laptop on the operation room's side table. Neo Albion? Melody asks, scanning the personnel files. No, not sure they have silver weapons either, the Arun says. Makes sense when your boss is a werewolf. I think we can take them, but what? Melody says. Let's deal with them and then move on to the real threat, the Glasswalker. From what you can see, 5 werewolves should have no trouble taking out a dozen security personnel, but Podge is quick to observe the problem. It'll be a massacre, Em, he says. There are still regular people in here, office workers and such. You wanted us to kill Daphne Clear, and now you're whining about some humans? Melody says. These are civilians, Podge says. What the hell do you think we are, Podge? Melody says. Living in cities has let you fool yourself. We're monsters who exist to kill. You wanted us to kill. Now that's what we're going to do. If our will is divided, those humans can kill us. We're not invincible, and we don't have time for sentiment. They're coming, Nin says, watching another camera feed. Pistols, tasers, what are we doing? You feel your rage churning. A fight could spiral out of control, but Melody is right that slinking around could get a werewolf killed. Oh, God. We need to heal this place and maybe gather information, not rip it down to its foundations. Kill if you have no choice, but let's avoid fighting if we can. Please. It is the best girl who is not Spider. Are you a big fan of Daphne Clear, Jerry? It's fine if you are. Fine, Melody says, her tone snippy. I'll shoot to stun. Don't be like that, Podge says. We want to. Ignoring the Arun, Melody grabs a flimsy metal chair and rips off one of its legs, then steps into the corridor. When guards run around the corner, she throws the leg into one man's legs. She throws the leg into one man's legs hard enough to shatter a kneecap. He falls with an agonized scream. His companions squeeze off a few panic shots and one round clips Melody. She's in her glabro form and barely reacts, but then they drag the screaming man back around the corner. The Philodox walks casually down the hall to where at least a dozen guards have set up a defensive fire zone in an open plan office. Elton, Melody says. Shadows race into the room, sapping the guards of their will to fight. Nin, Melody says. I love it. I love me a Silverfang. I'm gonna be so honest. Woo! Gorgeous. Look at that. Beautiful. Amused by the spider scene when you joined the Glasswalkers? I should have joined the Glasswalkers. No one would take me. The only one that would take me is, Heartwardens, is Stag. No one would take me. Nin strips as she walks, steps around the corner, and just as the guards open fire, she shifts into her Hispo direwolf form. A pulse of delirium washes over the guards, and they break, shooting wildly as they fall back. Nin howls, regenerating from several bullet wounds, but she doesn't pursue. They'll regroup, Melody tells Podge. Then let's finish our work before they come back, the Arun says, crossing to the reinforced steel door that leads to the executive suite. The facility locked down the moment those two guards Podge clobbered failed to report in, but he studies the door for a second, then pulls a steel drum the size of an old film canister out of his bag. Should we run? Melody asks. You should close your eyes, Podge says, pulling out a welder's mask. Amazing. That's my boyfriend. It's more like a blowtorch than like a bomb, but since it's something Podge made, it's also very much like a bomb. The flash turns such an arsonist. The flash turns the whole room white, like one of Elton's Levin bolts, except it lasts for 10 seconds. When you look again, there's a circular red-rimmed hole in the door. Podge dons a kitchen glove and rummages around until the door pops open a little. Then Melody and Elton push it open all the way, revealing a tastefully carpeted corridor that ends in a T-shaped intersection. The five of you move cautiously under the watchful gaze of cameras. There's a scratching, hissing sound in the corridor, a susurrus of voices piped through the speakers. What is that? Nin snarls, shaking her head back and forth. Control and coordination system, Podge says. Cockroach told me about it. There's still time to turn back, Miss Clear's voice says from the speakers. Do you think you're the first to get this far? Cross the threshold to my inner sanctum, Sierra, and I will dissect you. I will peel you apart and remake you, and you will become part of this metal, part of this flesh. As a spider's web is its thoughts, you five will be remade to become my thoughts, to hold my memories, to make me stronger for the next army of fools who dares to invade my territory. The moment she stops talking, the whispering crackle returns. You sound goofy as hell, you dime store Shodan. I don't know this reference. Are you reading that monologue off a cue card? But I'm a ragabash, so that's what I'm gonna say. Boom. Get her ass. Got him, Podge says. Got your ass. Both of you knock it off, Melody says. To the left, an open double door leading to a large computer workshop, all molded plastic and polished chrome. Miss Clear must be in there. To the right, the Fomori. You can't see them clearly in the dim flickering light, but you see sharp metal, flesh rubbed raw. Once human, perhaps experimented on by the agents of the Weaver, now bane-ridden horrors, sworn to the death of Gaia. They smell like trash left in the sun. At the head of a shifting company of flesh and metal stands a Fomor you've never seen before. His skin is torn by thick, ropey cables that run where his veins and arteries should be, and his head is gone, replaced by a knot of metallic objects that resemble satellite dishes. Gross. Strung together with bloody red wires. Gross. Elton, buy us time. Use your shadow powers and buy us time, please, for the love of God. Elton doesn't even hesitate. He sends shadows racing down the corridor even as he shifts into his Krynos form and hurls himself at the Fomori. Meat and metal smack into the walls as the Theurge tears into the Fomori. The computer room is laid out a bit like a high school science lab with workbenches in rows, but it's also a magpie's nest of machinery you recognize. Computer equipment from Everlight HQ, from Huvud Development's partners, Podge's technologically inclined buddies, Neo Albion, and the drone's lair at the old bottling plant. Most are just monitors flickering through iterations of propaganda and greenwash news, but you also see 3D printers, biomedical equipment, some kind of hydroponic setup, and other technology you don't recognize. The air is moist, the walls lined with ivy and flowering plants. It's a vision of the Glasswalker future, but you can smell the rot. Looking more closely, you can see it. Something is wrong with the plants. Their texture is slimy, infected. Spots of rust mark the computer equipment, and the plastic casings look warped. Fungal blooms have spread across some of the monitors, hissing and whispers from the staticky speakers. You think about destroying them, but they're hidden in the ceiling. Miss Clear stands at the far end of the room with every Doberman she's been able to mutilate. This is so gross. I want to kill her just on the principle of that. Wretched, emaciated, hair shaved or falling out, they're nonetheless deadly, their jaws replaced with steel fangs, needles, tasers, probably worse. She holds her pistol, the weapon that can turn flesh into flowers. I hate that, by the way. In one hand, targeting reticles flicker across her glasses. Despite... What is this? What is this, VATS from Fallout? Despite that, you're giving your side pretty good odds until the turrets come online. God damn it. This is the worst. Cool, Podge says as green targeting lasers settle on each of you. Not at all, Melody whispers, looking for cover. I guess I have to say something. Melody stares at the Glasswalker for a moment, mustering all of her authority as a Silverfang, and says, "We know that you have collaborated with the dark spirit called the Answering Tiger and his representative, the Black Spiral Dancer called Eater of Names, in order to spread lies among the human population. However, we also recognize that it is the principle and nature of the Answering Tiger to deceive. Daphne Clear, you have been deceived. We call upon you as a Garu, as a scholar, and as a faithful servant of Spider, the great spirit of knowledge, to see what has happened to you and to escape the prison in which you have found yourself. Only together can we fight this enemy." Daphne shoots her. Awesome. Fuck. The Philodox gets her arm up in time, but she still falls to the ground at your feet, stunned by the pain. Is this the gun? Is she going to turn into a flower? Her sweater burns away to reveal that her arm, from her wrist all the way up to her bicep, has become a riotous mass of flowers. That's so creepy and gross and weird, and I hate it. Nin's ears go flat as she snarls, circling the room. She's going to attack unless you can think of something to pacify the Glasswalker. You see Daphne grit her teeth in pain as Melody's porcupine spirit retaliates, though you can't see what the spirit is doing, but it's not enough to put the Glasswalker down. Spirits crowd into the computer room as Melody groans and tries to regenerate. With Owl's help, you can see them shifting at the edge of the Umbra. There are more than you expected, more even than Daphne seems to recognize. The Glasswalker looks around nervously even as her dogs snarl, her glasses aglow with red and pink warning data. Perhaps the spirits are here to bear witness. The air feels thin as you consider what to say. You know that tricks, threats, and rhetorical artistry won't work in here. In the sight of all these spirits, you need to speak the truth of who you are. Eee. Ooh. Okay. This is going really well. Sorry, I'm just reading because they're all pretty good answers, but I want to say this one because because effluvia is one of my favorite words. You so rarely have the opportunity to say it. This is disgraceful. Filth, corrosion, the demon effluvia of the worm. Is this where you want to rule from, Daphne? This pit? Ooh, it worked. You're right. No, sorry, she's Southern. You're right. Daphne says as the spirits crowd around you. She shakes her head, lowers her gun, removes her glasses. What the hell am I doing? The green lasers flicker off. The Dobermans drift away like lost cubs. Take that, 1 dot in charisma! What about the fighting outside? I don't want to get surrounded. You gesture for Daphne to holster her pistol, which she does, then step cautiously backward and glance outside. The sounds of fighting have died down. A moment later, Elton returns, covered in blood and oil, but alive. He shrinks back to his glabro form and says, "They're all dead." Then he studies the glasswalker, who keeps her hands raised in surrender. Yes. Miss Clear gives you everything you need to take control of the facility. Passcodes, maps, physical keys. She even... See, I am no good at fighting. Apparently the only things I can do well are things that a Garu shouldn't be able to do well, like talking. With my 1 charisma. But no one wants her in the center of power, so after a quick discussion, the pack decides to move her to the Beninsky estate. Oh, she's gonna be living with us. Ew. It's a tense... Ugh, I don't like that. It's a tense drive in Podge's truck. Daphne, as if stunned by her reversal, says nothing. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Podge obviously doesn't trust her. He waves for you and Melody to head inside while he stands guard. Melody and the Stormcat follow as you approach the door, pull out your key, and... What are you waiting for? Melody says. Right, the security system. The one Podge installed the day after you moved into Nin's place. This place could blow sky high if you don't enter the code. It's a code, right? Yes, there's some kind of key code you need to enter at the door. Hurry up, Stormcat says. We can't hang around all night. Why are you talking normally? It wasn't easy guiding us to Daphne, Melody says with easy glibness. She's tired. Let her talk normally. That doesn't seem right. Anyway, the door code. Oh, God. Ooh, I have... Ooh. Ooh. I have the option to take her to Elton's? Well, alright. Alright, come on, hang on. I don't like the idea of her staying with us, right? But the difference is that I'm there and Podge is there and Nin is there. And that's 3 of us versus 1 of her. If I take her to Elton's place, he's alone. And he's kind of a dweeb. And he might do something dumb. Alright, I don't understand what's happening. Why are these... What is going on? Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to enter a random sequence of 4 numbers because I don't know why that's an option. I don't know what is happening here. Are we back in the WTF arc? You quickly enter the 4-digit code and step inside. Daphne Clear enters after you, flanked by Elton and Podge. They sit her down at the kitchen table. What's happening? Talk, the Stormcat tells the repentant glasswalker. At first, Daphne tries to hedge, haggle, and secure promises, but she has no leverage and she knows it. She quickly tells the assembled pack everything she knows about Eater of Names. Right? Oh my god. Right? Isn't that what she's doing? She's talking, but as you listen, you have the strange impression that her words lack semantic content. You feel strongly that what you're hearing will change the tide of the battle against Eater of Names, but when you try to think about what she's telling you, there's no new information in your head. Just the conviction that you're going to win. You're about to signal Melody to this strange and hard-to-articulate concern when you realize that she's sipping wine with her injured arm, except it doesn't appear to be injured at all. And why did Stormcat just talk to Miss Clear? No, this isn't right. As Miss Clear continues to speak, you feel increasingly confident that a single tactical strike against Eater of Names will be enough to defeat him. No, you're not. She's not saying anything. Any move against Eater of Names now will end in disaster because you barely know his goals, let alone the disposition of his allies. Allies like the room has grown very quiet. A light passes by outside, like a car's headlights, and stripes of light and shadow crawl over the walls. What's happening? Well, Miss Clear says, her pistol aimed at your head, targeting reticles glittering in her glasses. I thought you'd have something more to say, little pup. Melody groans at your feet. Her torn flesh smells like tropical flowers. Rewind, I wanna go it again. Light up the dark. You know you can't beat us. I feel like I now would feel completely defeated. I feel completely defeated. Doesn't really matter what I say. I'll just say the one that I think is... Okay, well, I picked the one that I thought was the coolest. Now I'll pick the one that I think is the lamest. You know you can't beat us. Even if we fall, more will come. Do you want to die serving the worm? As if... You see the glasswalker hesitate, as if trying to ignore someone whispering in her ear. For just a moment, the gun lowers a little, and then she snarls, aims at you, and pulls the trigger. The beam slashes into your leg and you fall, landing badly. A slice of your thigh from your hip to just above your knee is gone, replaced by flowers. The pain is unique and breathtaking, worthy of poetry. Malformed but still dangerous Dobermans pad down the aisles between workbenches, their mouths red with electrical flames. Jesus Christ. The two turrets on the far walls flicker to life. Despite their green targeting lasers, the guns appear to be somewhat antiquated automatic rifles bolted to the walls on swiveling Waldos. Probably not silver bullets since Miss Clear is here too, but still dangerous. But most dangerous of all is the glasswalker, long and spider-like in her glabro form. Ugh. I love that imagery. But with her horrible little gun that turns flesh into flowers. A direct hit will vaporize you or any one of your allies, and the targeting reticles that flash in her glasses tell you she probably won't miss. Melody clutches her wounded arm, snarling. She obviously wants to tear Miss Clear apart, but the others are following your lead. Why? Why now are you following my lead? Why are you ever? I hate this. Okay. I just saw what the answering spy... I hate this because I just want to kill her. I really sincerely just want to kill her. I do. I really do. Banging on my table. But I need the WTF stuff to end and I need it to be explained. I just saw what the answering tiger does. Now I understand. We need to capture her, then free her from the dark spirit's illusion. I don't hate it. Melody snarls, but she'll back your play. All right. What's the most effective way to charge Daphne with my machete and beat her down? My leg's a pile of flowers at the moment. Ooh, okay. Yeah, let's take out the turret. All right, first let's shift because let's shift first. And I'd like to take out the turrets, please. That sounds like a good idea. That sounds like an excellent, excellent idea. I invoke Raccoon that get under them so they can't hit me and physically sabotage those turrets. Let's do it. Maneuvering to a position under the turret so you can disable... Although it would be funny if I just, like, screamed at her and ran at her with a machete with one leg that's a flower. Such a weird image. Maneuvering to a position under the turret so you can disable them is easier said than done, as Miss Clear has obviously accounted for that security flaw. But there's only so much anyone can do to account for a room full of furious werewolves, and when Podge flings a makeshift grenade into the midst of the attack dogs, you see your opening and run for it. Bullets chatter over your head, but you stay low and get under the nearest turret. As the battle rages, you grab a stepladder and climb up below the turret, even as the other one takes aim at you. But it can't hit you without hitting its companion, so it just swings back and forth. An ugly rubber bag covers most of the turret, probably to keep dust and would-be saboteurs out, but you slice through it with your knife and examine the interior. What are you even looking at here? The layout is bewildering, but you think it might be vulnerable. You start cutting. That drives the turret into a frenzy. Even though you're too close for it to shoot, it swings around at full speed, smacking you in the head and knocking you off your ladder. It's going great. You know what? You're right, Jerry. She wouldn't have seen me running at her with a machete. That's the one. I should have done that. I was really tempted to. It takes more than a short fall to stop a werewolf, but when both turrets swing down to target you, all you can do is hurl yourself behind the nearest workbench. They chew it to pieces. Realizing that the bench isn't stopping the bullets, great. You scramble away from the quickly dissolving bench as Dobermans try to reach you, staying low and looking for harder cover. I should have done the machete. That's when a sizzling bolt from the glasswalker's pistol hits you in the side. God damn it! The pain knocks you to the ground, and though the shot doesn't quite have the power to vaporize you instantly, it continues to burn. Gasping, you realize your shell jacket is ablaze and rip it off. No, not ablaze. It's dissolving into flowers that burn even as they drift through the air. Clutching your ruined ribs, which have partially turned into rippling stamens, or stamens, you peek around a smoldering workbench. Crap, this is why I shouldn't fight. The Dobermans have slowed down your fellow Garu, who all bear serious wounds, but the machine dogs have paid for it with their miserable lives. The creatures lie everywhere, twitching and broken. Both turrets are disabled. How? But as you watch, Miss Clear steps back into a far hallway, and just as Nin throws herself forward, a bulletproof glass door snaps down. She bounces off, then steps back as it electrifies like the drone's cage back in Holyoke HQ. The fallen glasswalker pulls out a bulky tablet, and you think fast as machinery deeper in the building whirs to life. If we can't get her, you gasp as Miss Clear disappears deeper in the building. Get everything else. That's not a bad idea, and it really is incredible what 4 Garu can do to a downtown office block when they put their minds and claws to it. Only Podge moves carefully, planting a little treat from his bag of fun in every room. Bombs. Even as the other Garu rampage, they keep an eye on the Arun. Finally, he shouts, "Time to go home!" The flames are still spreading as you hammer through an emergency door and jump down the steps. Your pack dodges first responder vehicles as they crunch to a halt in the parking lot. No one is in Krynos form, but the terrified EMTs give you a wide berth as you sprint for cover of the train tracks. Police shout in confusion, but they're on the far side of the parking lot, too slow to react. Alden has already hidden himself under the railway bridge in his glabro form. His cloak of shadows doesn't quite hide his many wounds. Oh, God. Is it real? Is everything that happened real now, or are you still trapped inside the answering tiger? Such a good question. It feels like your mind is nothing but that one question, looping over and over. Only the dull ache of your floral wound anchors you to reality. You only pay attention to the others when you realize Podge is taking the truck back to the Beninsky estate. No, somewhere else, you say, almost before you can think. The Arun glances at you, then nods. He parks the truck, the new truck, the maroon truck, behind Cavaletti to go, and everyone heads into the old back office of the radio station, the hideout Linus used before he died. Nina's changed back into her Hamid form. She jumps out the back in torn jeans and a Feminazgul t-shirt, heads inside, and immediately retrieves a guitar. I think that's some sort of that's like a portmanteau of feminazi and Nazgul? I think. I have no idea. Patrick, we're like 100 feet from GRC Media, Eldon says. And isn't this Daphne's ex-husband's office? Melody says, examining her wounded arm. Yeah, Linus used to work here, and Sierra wanted to go somewhere else, Podge says with a shrug. Look, this is a safe house. We have everything we need, including fast exits. After a few minutes spent leaning comfortably against Podge, just enjoying his quiet company, you climb onto the building's roof to watch the flames consume what's left of GRC Media. Those modern 4/1s burn fast. Chemical poison crawls up into the sky, stinging your wounds. What would a victory for the Garu look like, you wonder? What if Gaia's enemies have already stored enough poison to kill her and every battle you win ends with that poison spilling into the earth? What if it's only a matter of time? Oh boy. Then we go down fighting. We are as Gaia made us and can only struggle to do right by her. I don't know. Christ. Maybe there are other paths to protecting Gaia, but if so, they are for other kinds of creatures. And from what you've seen of the other powers in this world and the worlds beyond, they have fallen even further than the Garu nation has. Garu are warriors because they were created to be warriors, and you're not sure how many choices you really have, except how and when to fight, how and when to make your last stand against the servants of the apocalypse. Of course, that assumes you can even point your claws in the right direction. The Garu of Broadbrook thought they were striking at the heart of the worm. They tore out their own hearts instead. Maybe the vision of the Garu is fatally flawed. Ah, but maybe you're overthinking it, Sierra. I've seen many Garu come and go, and they either think too much or not enough. In this late age where the Garu are close to humanity and far from the wilds, they think too much. Hello again. It's a lovely evening to enjoy a rooftop view of this dingy little town, isn't it? Apart from the fires and the sirens, of course. But that's just city living. We endure what we must, because the truth is that we cannot survive in the wilds anymore. Even I, a mighty spirit, manifest as a Felis Domesticus because I am part of this human world now. I move through their pantheons and their dreams. I endure their unconscious reshapings of my nature. It is safer than the alternative. So we both tolerate their noise, their grime, their lies. Speaking of lies, Sierra, did you enjoy the false reality the answering tiger constructed for you? I don't know how to beat something that makes you think you already beat it. The answering tiger is the evil genius human philosophers fear as they try to imagine their way to understanding the world. But its powers are not unlimited. The tiger's fantasies are simple, comfortable, unambiguously what you are and what you want. So if I'm having a bad time, I'm in the real world, you ask, then you cough on the reeking smoke. This time, the answering tiger created a fantasy of rhetorical victory, playing it out in an attempt to gather information. The spirit had to work hastily and could only target one of you. But as you approach the fallen cairn, the answering tiger will empower your beliefs, your conception of yourself. Beware whenever you enter a situation that satisfies your assumptions about the world. If you find yourself effortlessly forging unbreakable alliances with humanity and their organizations, you may have wandered inside the answering tiger. If you want an outside perspective on this, I recommend talking to Elton, if he will talk to you. Elton, you ask? He sat for weeks in front of that portrait of his dead wife, clinging to the last of the illusion that the answering tiger cast over Broadbrook. Elton is determined to retain his dignity despite the many humiliations that both humanity and the Garu nation have heaped upon him. That painting showed him more than Catherine's... That painting showed him more than Catherine still alive. It showed him the respect and honor he never received before that moment. The storm cat slides back into the umbra and the world loses some of its enchantment. A confused cat sniffs the air, spots you, yowls and flees. The wind shifts, threatening to carry the rancid stink of the chemical fire your way. And since you don't see anyone watching the radio station building and since your wounds still ache, you head downstairs and catch a few hours of sleep. You don't have work for the next few days, so you'll be able to regenerate the wound from Daphne's pistol and turn your attention to Daphne Clear, who still isn't accounted for. Christ. Choice matters to all of us. Stormcat is our best cat. Yeah, for sure. Though you're not much of a computer person, you anticipate... Oh, God, this is just... Man, there's so much packed into this. There's so many, like plot threads that are just, you know... And I understand that they all converge and connect and cross over and stuff, but it's just so much to keep track of. Though you're not much of a computer person, you anticipate that despite her technical inclinations, Miss Clear will try to go crude in her escape. You talk to some Uber and Lyft drivers you know. As you expected, she didn't use an app to get out of town, but the drivers introduce you to some folks who manage cash-only illicit cab services. And indeed, someone matching Daphne Clear's description bought a used Volvo for $1,000. That must have been a really used Volvo. The man who sold her the car dropped it off and pieced together enough to learn she was heading for the DC area. You tell Podge and he finds her right away. She's near Georgetown where she has contacts through her late ex-husband. And even as you and Podge monitor her online activities, it seems like Daphne Clear has landed on her feet. In a matter of days, she's back on Indeed as an environmental consultant like nothing ever happened. Do we, drive down there and kill her? Podge asks that evening as Elton makes inside of burritos soup at the Beninsky estate. What is that supposed to mean? We don't have that kind of range, Elton says. He doesn't sound happy, but he's right. Miss Clear has eluded you for now, but if she ever returns, you'll know. Stag is displeased with the harm that has befallen your fellow Garu, so you spend several nights meditating before the Red Bowl. I have not pleased Stag once. Stag hates me. I think you're thinking of a different choice of games game. This is Werewolf the Apocalypse, the Book of Hungry Names. Okay. Yes. How many... Oh. All right, I just need to check my brain for a second. How many nights of, like, stuff do I have? I have free days. 3 free days. It sucks. I should have spent more time with Hoblin and Roscoe because they're not here now for me to do stuff with. My intelligence is awful. Alright, I don't know if I... Alright, it's not really important right now. Okay. I can't, like, do too much stuff because it's just to keep moving me forward. Alright, I think I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to do these things coming back into tomorrow. And then we'll play up until my voice runs out tomorrow. And then next week we'll move on to Werewolf the Apocalypse Purgatory by Different Tales, and it'll be a really good time. I'll be excited to come back to Sierra. I think we can give Sierra a break. I think this is stream number 15 or 16 that I've done of Book of Hungry Names, so this is crazy. Yes, Vampire the Masquerade Out for Blood. Yes, this is this is Choice of Games, same game company, but this is their Werewolf the Apocalypse, the Book of Hungry Names. This is a different setting. There's Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse is a different setting. So thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. And we'll hope you're looking forward to Apocalypse next week. Thank you, everybody.